Welcome to a video you'll never forget. Today we're going to witness terrifying moments, from catastrophic accidents to disasters you never could have imagined. Get ready to face the unimaginable. Let's dive in.
Number 1. First up, take a look as the Carnival Legend collides with the Carnival Glory as both of the cruise ships attempt to dock near one another in Cozumel, Mexico. You can watch as the Carnival Glory cruise ship begins to turn in the water, swinging the rear of the ship unintentionally toward the front of the Carnival Legend, which was already docked. Onlookers began to gasp as they could see that the collision was imminent. Things got really serious as the Carnival Legend began to literally tear through multiple levels of the Carnival Glory. As the two separated shortly after the collision, you can see debris falling into the water below. It must have been a truly terrifying experience for anyone on board either of the ships, and it's a good thing that no one was reported as being harmed in the situation. Number 2. Onlookers were in shock as a 2,200 passenger cruise ship went crashing into one of the most popular cruise ports in the entire world. The port is located in Barcelona, Spain, and it acts as a major cruise hub for every country in Europe. You can imagine the surprise as a cruise ship known as Excellent came crashing into the port, which then caused a crane to come crashing down, resulting in a small explosion. The entire incident was captured on video from all angles. You can watch as Excellent goes head first into the dock, with the front end of the ship tapping against a large crane. The crane can then be seen toppling down, which is followed by an explosion that could be seen from all across the port. Reports say that the cruise ship was in the process of arriving in Barcelona following a voyage from Genoa, Italy. Control of the ship was allegedly lost as the ship experienced bad weather. Number 3. It was at a dock in Honduras where the MSC Armonia was filmed as it crashed into the dock. The person filming the incident along with those on board the ship were all unharmed, but the video shows the exact moment that the Armonia begins to tear the pier to pieces as it brushed along the side of the ship. You can see as everyone in the area attempts to get a better view of the incident, and as the ship continues to move, the pier gets more and more torn to pieces. Damage can be seen along the sides of the Armonia, and it appears to be just above the waterline. The ship soon came to a stop, and damage was then assessed. Number 4. In this next clip, you can watch as a large cruise ship makes a narrow pass by an equally large container ship. There was hardly any space between the two ships, and as the cruise ship continued to pass, they only grew closer to one another until finally they made contact. Thankfully, it looks like the lifeboats or rescue vehicles took the majority of the damage, as you can see the large red rafts falling into the ocean below after the two ships began to hit one another. After pulling apart from each other and assessing the damage, it's likely that other than the lifeboats being damaged, the ships were fine, though it's clear that it could have been much worse. Number 5. Tourists in Venice were in for a massive surprise as a cruise ship was filmed coming barreling toward the dock. You can watch as people on the dock flee from the approaching ship, as it appeared unable to slow and come to a stop before the inevitable collision. Along with the dock, the cruise ship crashed into a tourist boat that was anchored and docked in front of it. You can see the incident occur from all different angles, as onlookers from every direction, including on board the cruise ship, began filming the accident. The cruise ship seemed to literally wedge itself between the tourist boat and the dock before finally coming to a halt. Number 6. As the Carnival Triumph cruise ship was sitting in Mobile, Alabama as it waited for repairs, people on shore were shocked as they watched the cruise ship come into contact with another ship that had also been docked there. Video was captured that shows Carnival Triumph slowly but surely coming into contact with what has been identified as a vessel belonging to the U.S. Army. Following the collision of the two ships, they separated from one another and the damage was assessed. The Carnival Triumph ended up sustaining a breach through the hull in the form of a gash that was about 20 feet long. There were also reports of a damaged railing along with damage to the stern above the ship's waterline. Number 7. In this next video, which was taken by an onlooker, captured the moment when the Norwegian Epic cruise ship came into contact with a small dock as the captain was pulling into the port. As the Epic begins to graze the small platform, you can see the structure of the dock begin to shift. In no time, the foundation of the dock must have given out because it quickly plummeted into the water. Within the seconds that followed, the Epic continued moving forward and crashed into another section of the port, causing another small platform to crash down into the water. Luckily, the Epic did eventually come to a stop, but you can see in the video all of the guests as they stand on their balconies watching the incident unfold. Number 8. On May 18, 2017, the Kaidon crashed into a pier located at the Santo Domingo port in the Dominican Republic, causing major damage to the ship and the port. The crash also caused many containers on the pier to be displaced and caused significant damage to the infrastructure of the surrounding area. The damage can be seen from multiple angles as onlookers as well as many news outlets covered the story. Thankfully, according to the reports, any damage done to the Kaidon was not below the waterline, and the ship was able to return to operation after some brief repairs. Number 9. You can tell that the people on board both of these cruise ships are not happy in this next clip. Watch as the two ships collide at Port Canaveral. As the one cruise ship seemed to lose control, it slowly came crashing into the side of the other. The impact was a direct hit and shook up everyone who was on board. Thankfully, no one had gotten hurt. The damage done to the two cruise ships is unclear, but both of them needed to return to port for repairs following the collision. Number 10. In this next clip, you can watch as things go terribly wrong as the cruise ship known as Infinity attempted to dock in Ketchikan, Alaska. As the ship was in the process of lining up properly to dock itself at the pier, things went awry and the ship crashed into the dock, which resulted in a gash along the bow of the ship that was about 12 feet long and close to the waterline of the Infinity. The dock itself was also heavily damaged. You can watch as pieces of the dock begin falling to the water below as the ship came slamming into the side of it. Damage to the dock was estimated to be between $2 and $3 million. Thankfully, no one on board the Infinity or on the dock was hurt during the incident. Number 11. Last but not least, we have a clip that shows the exact moment when the Carnival Legend cruise ship came into contact with another cruise ship as it was leaving Cozumel, Mexico. Carnival Legend was on its way out of the berth when it was pushed by heavy winds and came crashing into the Enchantment of the Seas, another cruise liner. The video shows the two ships drifting closer and closer to one another before they finally collide. The Carnival Legend sustained most of the damage on her open deck area, though some windows ended up being smashed, sending broken glass into the cruise ship. As for the Enchantment of the Seas, they suffered some damage on the stern of the ship, along with some of the handrails.
The start of the Russian Grand Prix in Sochi was disappointing for Formula One drivers. The session's start had to be postponed due to a diesel spill on the track's surface. But it was removed within half an hour, and drivers continued their training session. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz Jr.'s story had only just begun. Turn 13 played a cruel joke on the Toro Rosso pilot. The Spaniard lost control due to problems with the brakes and crashed into the guardrail. In Carlos' defense, the track there is really complicated thanks to the sharp left before the right turn. But the fact that the car crashed into the bump in almost a straight line without slowing down really makes you wonder. Share your opinion in the comments. Should the FIA use gravel or asphalt in the departure zone? And if the Sainz accident is an open and shut case, how do you explain the karting race in Genk, Belgium? 12 karts flew off the track at one corner. It seems that collective intelligence played a large role here. Look at the way that MotoGP pilot came out of the low side. But what's this? It looks like he didn't expect the high side to catch up after all. That looks painful, don't you think? It's a good thing they make it compulsory to wear airbag protection. Otherwise, the rider would have been in some serious trouble. Unique footage, flying wheels and flying cars. Looks like we'll be seeing Batmobiles at the races soon. This member of the press will be remembering this moment for a long time. What saved him? Fate or a great reaction? Thomas Laurent knows firsthand how a driver can turn into a passenger at the very whim of a car. The 24 Hours of Le Mans is a tough test of endurance. The number 3 Rebellion fell out of the race by 4 minutes in the 7th hour. As a result, Laurent dropped out to 5th place. Did you know that in early races, speed was not the main factor in winning? Funnily enough, the winner was the one who reached the finish line with the least number of breakdowns. And the cars were accompanied by a media representative on a bicycle. Drag racing fans weren't likely to enjoy a show like this, unlike Mike Bowman's spectacular finish at the Gateway Motorsports Park in Madison, Illinois. His E3 Spark Plugs Pro mod, based on the 1969 Chevrolet Chevelle, covered the quarter mile in 5.89 seconds, but at the finish line, his brake parachute failed to open. The dragster simply hung from the safety net. Passionate about online games, the Marvel Universe, and love steaks? You have a good chance of becoming a race car driver. For example, Santino Ferrucci made his professional debut at the age of 14 and won Rookie of the Year in his first race at the Indianapolis 500. Of course, even this prodigy was not always lucky. Santino was caught offside on the second corner by a strong gust of wind. Lucky guy got off only with a slight leg injury. When you see multi-million-dollar cars falling apart, Marcus Ericsson's crash was the highlight of the second practice session of the Italian Grand Prix. The Sauber driver was thrown to the side at the end of the starting straight. The car flew into a bump, and after, the collision flipped him several times. Again, the DRS system failed the pilot. Another great save. Bravo, maestro! What is it? Evil fate, or just an inadequate assessment of your car's technical capabilities? Victory seemed so close, but the height and the power of gravity remained unconquered. The Nürburgring is the dream of every person with gasoline in their blood. Who hasn't tested their cars here? 33 left-hand corners, 40 right-hand corners, a drop of about 980 feet. It's a dream ride. And it's no secret that odd situations often occur here, like what happened to the BMW E46 M3. But the funniest thing is the pilot's reaction to losing his door at 174 miles per hour. Confrontation between rivals is understandable, but when teammates start to antagonize each other, it reaches a point of absurdity. What a disaster for the Mercedes! Perhaps the UFC should consider putting Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg on the active roster, especially after their behavior at the Spanish Grand Prix. After Fernando Alonso's epic collision with Esteban Gutierrez in Melbourne, you realize that even such recognized professionals remain vulnerable to fatal errors. The Radical SR1 Cup is for those who don't yet have a racing license. It looks like one of those racers was inspired by Chick Hicks from Cars. Deploying parachutes at that speed? Drag racing is definitely for lovers of all things extreme. Bred in circuses? Check out this test drag race. It's just as interesting as the competitions themselves. A Grand Prix without adventure? Nonsense. This time it was the collision between Red Bull Racing drivers Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen on the 40th lap. The ARCA races are no less spectacular. No one expected such a story from Jesse Ekin-Udui, who received the Move of the Race award in his time. What do you think of Patrick Gallagher and his Aston Martin's performance in the Pirelli GT4 America race? That's harsh. The Top Race Junior at the Juan and Oscar Galvez Autodrome in Buenos Aires also shines with talent. Another story in this category, but from the Ciudad de Parana circuit. One wrong move and a massive collision is inevitable. Racers at the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge in 2021 also distinguished themselves with their bumper-to-bumper friendship-making skills. The Daytona 500 is the best proof of Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Is this deja vu? Yet another collision at the Juan and Oscar Gavas circuit in Buenos Aires. At Super TC 2000 races, you can find fire spewing from the nostrils of the cars, straight from under the pilot. Do you think that Formula One car wrecks are an unbelievable spectacle? See what happens at the Thruxton Motorsport Centre track in the British Truck Racing Championship. What caused this collision between a Toyota Corolla Altis GR Sport and a Vios Lady One make race? Was it driver inattention that neglected the yellow flag, or poor planning at the race? Write your opinion in the comments. Once again, the Argentinian circuit races impress us. This time the pilots could not overcome yet another turn in the Parque Ciudad de Rio Cuarto. Strange, you would think that high car noises are a thing of the past, so that they don't fly up when bumping into the car ahead of them, but they still manage to hop on top of each other. And while those last pilots performed their hot bachata, the Burra Circuit racetrack in Thailand had cars waltzing down the track. This next video is again devoted to dancing. And how else can we call this pilot's lone exit over the fence, if not an Argentine tango, just emerging in the port areas of Buenos Aires? Though this incident did happen on the Parque Ciudad de Rio Cuarto racetrack. At the Renault Formula support race in Italy, Kristen Riccinardi outdid himself in acrobatics. What an incredible somersault! However, an even more virtuosic multiple somersault was performed by a driver at the International Circuit of Tirana, Brazil. Doesn't it seem like the racer is more upset about the damage to his car? And it's Argentina again, in the air yet again. The Robert Jose Morris Circuit in La Plata traditionally hosts one of the most prestigious races of the Auto Body Championship, the TC 2000. Judging by the scene, racers here too are fighting not only for prizes, but also for a most spectacular stage. ADAC GT Masters 2020 drivers in Hockenheimring, Germany also had their fans feeling nervous. One of the 13 bends of the track became a bottleneck for the 3 drivers. This is more like a triathlon now. But in motorsports, apart from steep turns, blowouts, and masterful somersaults, there are quite a few odd moments as well. For example, this pilot's Sparco Spa steering wheel almost caught a collision. That's true, you have to hold this steering wheel tight. The actions of a young NASCAR driver are interesting to watch, both on and off the track. Who is he? An extravagant troublemaker or a future racing star? He's either adored or hated, and this is another Noah Gragson scandal. Of course, Toyota representative Daniel Hemrick came up first, but he didn't even have time to voice his complaints before a hostile Noah shoved him on the side. The reason for the spat is obvious. Graskin miscalculated his speed and ran into Daniel's car inside of his box. Who do you think is right in this situation? While some argue with their fists after a race, others stage a dramatic comedy. How else would one react to the boyish antics of Wallace Jr., aka Bubba? Yes, Alex Bowman turned him around on lap 42, but is that an excuse to pour water on your opponent? Speaking of which, Wallace was later fined $50,000 for deliberately manipulating the competition. At least these races, there are no disputes for supremacy. Competitors move in an orderly manner towards the finish line. Admittedly, not all of them manage to finish by themselves. Some have to be carried to the finish line. And there are times when the competitors creep over the rails or stop along the way. But at least these Zoopolis 500 traditional race participants have some manners.
Green lights and yet more crashes, this time in the midfield. A chain reaction involving several trucks.
Another passing point, but
we got
we've got a bumper stop.
big crash! Oh my goodness! It's Alan Bowles in the 3.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
We've got a
Oh, we
truck
got
through the
big
fence.
trouble! Big trouble! That's Mike. I think that's Mike Morgan in the '88.
Boost ball around that first lap is in lead. Oh, the Godfather spins out. We got major action. We're on the side. Oh my goodness.
There's the 4 of Scott Treadway, and Darren Profit is right there. Oh, he made contact with the 55 of Craig Kruckenberg. Oh, and Craig Kruckenberg made contact as well. And oh man, what a hit! Oh man.
c'est fait ça.
Et nous avons la
la torta! Oh, that's right. He had gotten by him, so is there, but did maybe somebody lay some dirt? Oh, he just ran it kind of loose through there.
Exactly like Kevin Harvick.
He's there.
Brakes are Elliott inside in the chicane.
Oh!
Pounds Ryan Blaney.
Oh, Smith Lee's got turn two.
No. Smith Lee got into Keselowski. Gregson hard in the wall.
So is the 24 Byron. Chastain.
Happen truck's not stable, and that's going to send Gilliland around, and big wreck. That is big damage to Gilliland and Stuart Friesen.
I mean, that's just 4 wide, Jamie.
That's just trying to close a hole that was already occupied.
Yeah.
Several of those drivers just had absolutely nowhere to go.
John Hunter looks like not major damage.
His didn't look too bad, at least on the right side that I saw.
Here comes his teammate, the Texan, trying to hold on, 43 years old. Oh, big crash, and Ben Rhodes going around the outside and across the line.
Jordan Anderson with the huge run. Ooh, look at the contact.
Ooh! Gracie Trotter gets into her teammate, Derek Griffith, then he goes around and they continue crashing.
Greg Van Alst, Nick Sanchez.
And as soon as you put that helmet on, somehow it squeezes the blood flow.
Spinner.
Jones.
Brandon Jones, who won the opening stage, crashes at the end of stage 2 and more contact. Wow, that was scary.
Oh,
there it is. And there goes Ty Dillon. Big crash.
Didn't see that coming. Ty Dillon moved out, tried to go 3 wide. Roger Penske, all the races that he's won, even at this. Crash right there.
And here we go. Crash. 6 laps remaining. It's our 9th caution of the night. The 4 is Landon Castle.
Oh, no.
Alvarola Bowman.
Oh, the 24's on his side. Remember what I said, Clint, about 21 cars? I don't know if we got there, but man, that took out a lot of race cars and a lot of great race cars, and the run's on top. Oh! Teammate! seconds.
Around they go in a hard crash. Kyle Busch.
Larson.
Caution is out.
Bubba Wallace is in this. Austin Cindric, hard hit.
And Michael McDowell from Glendale, Arizona, for Bob Jenkins Front Row Motorsports, has won the Daytona 500. How about that?
Man.
That's a huge win for Michael McDowell and that team. Doesn't get any bigger than this.
And a huge crash.
Toyota 86 competitor.
What's the background? Big crash. I saw that out the window, and it was Jason Bargwanna who came in really hot and got James Moffat at turn 6. So watch the background. Was there a failure? Look at the bit of debris coming across the track and into an innocent James Moffat. But Mawson's a wake up to this. He gets into the back. They collide, and they'll both go off the track here. You can see that coming from turn 6.
As they sweep around turn 2. Oh, contact!
Lock up. Oh, there's been a massive accident down the bottom end. Nick Jones in the Nissan is locked up heading down into turn 2 and cleaned out the TA2 car.
Down towards the front straight, towards the end, squeezing under the brakes. He's going to go right round the outside and loses that into the wall. Oh, big crash. It's almost like Sunday Johnstone's at the fair. Contact, Leo's in. Oh, they've taken each other out of turn 1. It's not a great place for the Mazdas. So Hayden Gear and the Mini going around the hairpin. A little bit of contact there, these boys. A little bit loose and sideways, just escorting them onto the grass, going onto the Denny Holmes straight coming out of the hairpin.
Did a Mini just escort a Ford Falcon off of the circuit?
He's an expert at this and these.
Oh no! Big crash! That's a big crash! Hayden Beckeris has collected the wheel. Oh! That's a terrible, terrible incident. It was the usual battle. Again, the lap car involved here as they came into the bus stop. And, oh dear me, I'm afraid that's the Atlanta Speedworks car.
I think they owe us a pit stop. And unless this is a very long caution period, wow, yeah, no, unabated
oh, my
speed
goodness.
out.
Det har aldri vært noe bredd i kjempa igjen. Det er faen ikke hatt kontakt med omverdenen siden 19. Jeg har sett at han har skikkelig arbeiderklassefolk fra England, men da ser du at det er litt helt for det. Jeg tror det er keltiske blodet. Den som er underklasse nå, det er de som var keltere før. Og de som er overklasse, det er så etterkommende til normannerne. Og så sakserne er så det er egentlig tyskere.
went fast.
Oh, oh, oh!
That's why we have a lot of safety here with the distance from the runway and the wind.
Les étendues du Pacifique. Oh là, j'aime pas ça, j'aime pas ça.